So it turns out this card just buries Steelsong. I came second place in a set champs with Emerald Amethyst in a Steelsong heavy meta. And here's how. So, last weekend I entered into the Worcester Set Champs and I came second out of 28 players. I locked in with Emerald Amethyst because this is a deck that I think is performing so amazingly at the minute and the meta is wide open. But one of the things I was conscious of is the amount of Steelsong decks which are starting to crop up. They cause a lot of problems for us. After I played in the team event in Dudley the day before, I made a couple of changes to my deck to make sure that I could last against Steelsong, and let me tell you, it worked well. Now, there are three main top performing decks in the meta at the minute. We have Ruby Sapphire, Steelsong, and Emerald Amethyst. The weird thing about these three decks is each one has its own individual archetype. There's two versions of each one. So what I mean by this, with Ruby Sapphire, we have the DKP Shark Burn list. With this, you're using Shark, as well as actions and then manners to win you the game. But on the other side, you also have the item list, which focuses on Maurice's workshop, and then using Sisu to clear the board, and hopefully Oko the game with a Tamatoa. We then have Steelsong with the more traditional build, which is focusing on songs. We have characters like Ariel or Ursula or Naveen, who are high cost singers, and they sing and remove all the characters on the board and you win from there. But we also have the Amber Steel aggro version now, which is not too far off the original Diggy from last set. This deck is focusing on characters like Lady, who can get other low cost characters out on the board as early as turn 3, so you win the game very quickly. Then with Emerald Amethyst, we have the discard package, and then my baby, the tempo mid-range. I think the tempo mid-range deck is far, far better. Don't get me wrong, if we go on paper, the discard deck is far more successful. It's seen way more wins in tournaments. But the big thing is, a lot of people are expecting this deck to be played. So when you reveal your colours at the start of the game, when you've played out your cards and they see they're playing against green-purple, your opponent immediately starts prepping towards the discard version of the deck, which gives you a bit of an advantage. Because for me, I like to put my foot on the gas at the start of the game. My opponents are going to be focusing on removal for Diablo, which I'm not running. They're going to be focused on keeping their hand size, but they don't need to do that. For this deck, I have a very specific strategy of I want to get to 12 lore as quick as possible. Once I get to 12, I would say at most points, that game is mine. So, here's how the deck works. So, by the magical powers of editing, you should hopefully be able to see my deck list right above me. Now, I do go through this deck quite a lot on my channel, so I'm not going to go through individual counts as much, just for the spirit of brevity. If you would like a more detailed breakdown, please feel free to click on one of my previous videos where I go a lot more in depth about this deck. It's fairly similar to what it has been. It's not changed too much, bar a few certain cards which I've added in specifically for the current meta, which has been so helpful to me. For the general game plan, I'm looking to get to 12 lore as quick as possible. So for that, I'm always looking for my cards such as Merfolk and Flynn Rider. They are my ideal turn 1 and turn 2 plays. I want a quest out as quickly as possible. The benefits of these cards, if they do not have the hand removal, for example, Brawl, Storm, Strength, Zeus, if they're wasting a Zeus on a Cursed Merfolk, I'll be very happy. If they don't have that, they have to discard a card when they challenge it. Through that, I can make sure my opponent's hand size is getting quite low, which means they don't have as much adaptability in the game. And then once I get to 12, I can utilise characters like Goat, using Bounce, and then use Go-Go to Margot on top of it to be able to scrape me over the finish line. And that tends to work in most matchups. Don't get me wrong, in some games you will have to tech it a little bit. But for me, ideally I want to go Merfolk turn 1, Flynn Rider turn 2, Pan Shadowfinder on the turn 3 to either take out a character, to set it up to be able to sing Friends with Pan on the next turn, or to be able to set up a play for Yargo or Genie to be able to rush in on the turn 4. Around that point, I am going to be getting quite high on my lore totals, so from then I can just focus on draw, get into my goats, my bounce, and then making sure to ink every turn. I do play my Emerald Amethyst a little bit different to most players because a lot of Emerald Amethyst players stop inking a little bit earlier on. For me, I'm looking to get to 8 to 10 ink because I want to be able to get lots of bounce in. With the amount of draw that my deck has, having a lot of Amethyst cards, I can facilitate this in the later game stages. But most of the time, we don't need to worry about getting there because it's just quick enough to go through. Now, I said at the start of the video that I teched in a certain card into my deck, Ursula Sea Witch Queen, and let me tell you, she was absolutely nuts this weekend. The reason she popped off so much is because there was so many Steelsong players. I played in the Dudley Team True event the day before on the Saturday, and I was surprised to see so much Steel Song there. So it had me a little bit worried. Dudley isn't that far away from Worcester, so I had a feeling that it was going to be filled with it, and it really was. I will say that if you're an Emerald Amethyst player and you're expecting there to be a lot of Steel Song in your meta, a lot of Steel Song in wherever you're going to play, don't play the deck. It's not the best choice to go against it. Steel Song is my worst matchup, and it's really, really hard to play against. Because I'm trying to play aggro at the start of the game, they just have so much removal using cards like Ursula and Cinderella. It really, really is quite problematic. Storm, Strength, Zeus just absolutely rip through the deck. And if I don't get that aggro package at the beginning and I'm stuck slowed down, it can be hard to come back. But, this is why we've added in Ursula. Because Ursula has the fun little ability that when she quests, you can exert characters. So that means any of their singers I want to get rid of, I can quest, exert them, and rush a character like Iago in to take them out. Or even better, cards can't sing songs when she is on the field, which means Steel Song gets wrecked. I know, right? It's brilliant. Such a simple card with such a great effect. But yeah, honestly, she came in so useful, and the kind of game plan that I had going into the Steel Song matchups was I'd get my 2-cost Ursula down as quick as possible, and I'd want to hold her upright and put down other characters as a distraction for them. So I'd put her down, rip a song out of their hand for the protection, and then play down cards like Merfolk or Iago to try and distract them away from tackle into Ursula. If I find another Ursula, she's of course coming down as quickly as possible to get rid of any songs, and then that sets me up for the shift line on my turn 5. Once I've got her down on the board, they can't sing songs with their characters, which means they have to hardcast it. And most of the characters in Steel Song do not have a lot of strength on them. They are very, very small characters just with high singing costs, so the deck kind of falls apart at that point. On top of it, being a free quester, it means that she can get me so much lore so quickly and get me into range for go-go. And what was happening a lot of the time in the matchup was they'd have to sack several characters into Ursula to be able to get rid of her, which means they clear their board for me, which means I can just start playing aggro again because they've got nothing to go against me. Or I can just stick down a second Ursula and they're back in a problematic position. Now, as much as it went really, really well with the addition of Ursula, I did see one Amber Steel deck which caused me quite a lot of grief. And coincidentally, it's the deck that I played against in the finals, Amber Steel Aggro. Now, this one I'm really, really struggling with. As much as I'm starting to feel a little bit more confident in the actual Steel Song matchup, I can't find a way to beat Amber Steel Aggro when they're on the play. Don't get me wrong, when they're on the draw, there's a way around it, and I can certainly slow them down enough to be able to get me over the finish line first. But in the finals, the girl that I played against, she managed to beat me in 5 turns flat in game 1. I won the second game, and then in game 3, when she was on the play again, she won in 5 turns again. Simply, they played Daisy into Piglet, into Lady, which allows you to play another 2-cost character for 3, plays down another Piglet, and then plays down some other small characters that quest for 2 at the end, probably another Piglet and a Smee, and then they just quest out and they have game in 5 turns. The characters in my deck can't remove them that quickly. It's physically impossible. So I'm at a little bit of a standstill at the minute because I don't actually know how to beat the deck. That being said, I've been cooking quite a lot this week and I've come up with some new ideas which I think are going to be quite useful for it. I'm going to do a video after the set champs this weekend going through these changes that I've made, but the deck's performing really well at the minute and I really like the changes, so I'm quite excited to see them with you. Overall, I think this deck is a solid contender for a deck you want to take to your set champs. If it is something you'd be interested in, please leave me a comment down below, let me know how you got on, or even just let me know in the comments what deck you're taking to your set champs. Thank you so much to everyone who's tuned in for the whole video. I am aiming to get to 80 subscribers by the end of July, so if you can help me out with that by hitting on that bell, I'd really appreciate the support. But hope everyone has a great time, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!